Hey, folks.
Hey, let's just, we'll give it till we're at the 30-second mark, and then we'll talk.
And then we'll get going.
We'll talk a little bit more.
Give a couple minutes for people to accumulate into the room.
At the 30-second mark, let's just, we're almost there.
Yeah.
Almost at the...
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to the live
Hi.
chat.
Okay, so, we experimented with YouTube's live stream chat.
Yeah, we picked a pretty poor time to experiment.
We picked the worst time to experiment with the live stream chat.
Yeah.
But what we noticed was there was a lot of comments coming. Like the video itself that we did had like a lot more likes than dislikes. But we did pay attention to the comments of what happened in the video when we were talking about why Zack Snyder left Justice League and that Joss Whedon was taking over. We took a couple things in consideration. I have a habit of like when I title videos, I just put exclamation marks at the end. It's just a YouTube thing to do. And that came across the wrong way. That came across as if we're being insensitive and that we're making this sound like it's super exciting news. And that was a wrong approach to take. And the second thing was that a lot of people were commenting as if we were being very insensitive or disrespectful or
basically
even laughing at the
making
news.
jokes about the news, which we never actually did. But the tone of the video we didn't get to talking about the topic until about 3 minutes into the video. We had some intro stuff. We had our general banter to get things going.
Yeah, because
that probably just wasn't the best idea.
So the last thing we wanted to do too was film a video, edit it up, to make it seem like some kind of bullshit, response to the response that we were receiving. So we're like, we'll just go live and let you guys know, here's exactly what happened.
Yeah, totally.
And I do want to apologize. I did put out a tweet saying that we did take the video down.
Yeah.
Because even though we rewatched the whole video before we took it down.
Yeah, just to make sure we didn't slip and say anything totally off color or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And I know that when we address the serious part of the video about what happened with Zack Snyder's family, that I know we weren't being insensitive, and we touched on it for about a couple minutes, saying how serious and how devastating it was. I've lost family members in my life, and I know how devastating that can be. You've experienced that with a lot of people.
Friends lost to suicide or at least struggle very much with it.
But I know that the overall tone of the video, I think the problem that we encountered was that, because it's our first time going live, and because we're live and people know us for being, trying to keep things at least entertaining a little bit, we wanted to, we know the overall video didn't have a tone that resembled that, we took the news to a serious weight. We didn't take it to, we didn't come across it all like we actually understood the real tragedy behind it. We started going way more into the idea of Joss Whedon taking over, the idea of what Joss Whedon could be doing, and what this means for DCEU, instead of staying more on point with what happened with Zack Snyder. But we were honestly thinking this probably wouldn't be our arena to really touch on. This probably wouldn't be our arena to explore of what happened here in terms of the tragedy aspect. But because we know that out of a 12-minute video, we only touched on that for a couple minutes.
Yeah. So
we do want to apologize to anyone who did take offense, thinking that we didn't understand the gravity of the situation here.
Yeah, this is pretty shocking news, to be honest. Like, you don't hear this a lot. And this is the first time I think we've ever had, that there's been like a tragedy like this to address in our sphere, like a video that we would do. Yeah,
exactly. So we'll open this up to comments and stuff and see, what people say, and if you guys write like mean things, there's a simple button here where I could just block you guys if I want to.
It's easy to get tone deaf by accident, like it is. It's easy to be caught up in stuff and just to take the wrong approach, and
it's different on our side too.
Yeah.
We're on camera and we're live, and we're not used to being live.
Yeah.
So it was a different experience for that, but. and let's just see what's going on here. How do we open up the comments?
I don't know if you can. Like, if you do Facebook Live, you can scroll back through, but I've never done this before.
Yeah, because I don't think, I really don't think we were being insensitive to when we were touching on the serious topic.
Yeah, the actual, and I mean, you could say it again, I mean, that's arguably... I was shocked when I saw the headline, and I'm glad that he's stepping away, because that's where you should be, is with your family. Like, I understand he said, like, getting back to work might be just the thing, but
yeah,
there's I don't think there's anything that can help you get over a thing like that.
Well, I think the average response for anyone who I see grieving through something, whether it be a death or even like a long-term relationship breakup, I think what most people do, or a lot of people, some people either stay really depressed and let that sink in. Sometimes they wallow, or sometimes they just take the time to really grieve. But then a lot of people take the other approach too, which is they throw themselves into work. And I think the death of his daughter came around the time of March. And so he has been working on the film actively. But we also said in the previous video that it's best that he takes a step back, because family comes first. Grieving is necessary.
Well, and these movies are huge, and they got to be all-consuming. Yeah, like, this only happened a little over a month ago, and I can't imagine that anybody's okay yet.
Yeah, I can't imagine being in Zack Snyder's position. That's what I can't imagine, is someone who's coming off these DC films, and there's all this pressure already just for a movie. There's already all this weight and pressure of a movie, and then he has this terrible tragedy happen with his family. His daughter passes away, and I can imagine the crossroads you're kind of at, but I can't really fathom what the crossroads are like. To be at such a thing of, man, there's all this pressure for this movie that I signed on to, and there's all this anticipation, and comic book fans are very dedicated, but he has his own life too. He has his own family he has to tend to too. He's got his wife, he's got his other children, so I'm all in support of him leaving the project, letting Joss Whedon finish up whatever post-production stuff that is left on the film, because Joss Whedon's is a great person to finish up whatever touches that are needed to be made on Justice League.
Well, and on the movie side of that, I think of all the people who you could hand this off to, I think Joss Whedon is a safe pair of hands,
Oh, absolutely.
And honestly, like that was, forget the movie, there was just, that read as a nice thing to me that Joss Whedon would step up and take over for him, because not a lot of people can fill that role. Yeah. And to open the door for him to go and have some family time is a great thing for Joss Whedon to do.
All right, so let's we'll pay attention to a few more comments now after we explained our side of things. Yeah. So once again, apologies to anyone who thought we were being insensitive about it, because we understand. I know not everyone thinks that. I know a lot of people think that we weren't being insensitive, and some people were defending us in comments, but at the same time, we totally understood why people might have gotten that impression of that. But that's what it was an impression of it. It wasn't a fact or an actual truth as to our side of the spectrum here.
So you start out, you get tone deaf a little bit, and then you learn. Yeah. And then you don't, and then you hear that tone forever.
This guy has an interesting name, Jewbag998. He was talking, it's been a crazy day, first off. There was that incident in Manchester.
Yeah, at the Ariana Grande concert.
And then this happens, and it's kind of a dark, heavy day. Yeah. It really is. And I can imagine, first off, if you're in the comments too, because I could see people commenting right now, even on this live stream, talking about how, people are just being overly sensitive and whatnot. I don't think that's a fair thing to say to people, I don't think it's a fair thing to say, because it's a sensitive time, Yeah. And everyone, even if they don't personally know anyone that happened at the Manchester incident, even if they don't personally know Zack Snyder
or Chris Cornell or
Chris Cornell, all these terrible things that have been happening recently in the media that we've been learning about, everyone still responds to the news of death very differently. Some people are detached from it. Some people, because they've experienced death in their life, relate to it and then have emotions brought up to it that could also be playing a factor in it. Mm-hmm. So some people, to call people insensitive or sensitive, depends, what it is.
When there's death on the table, I feel like you just should... I don't feel like it's a very worthwhile conversation to figure out who's being too or too sensitive. Not sensitive enough, you I guess can argue about. But yeah, I mean, everybody processes these kinds of things differently, and they always make you think about human life, you have to confront death at some point. And for a lot of us, you have to at least confront the presence of suicide in your life, a lot of people will come into contact with that.
Yeah.
I lost my train of thought, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't think you can be too sensitive about something like this. And it's, when something happens, if somebody's tone deaf about it, it's fair.
Yeah.
I get it. Or if there's a concern. That was like when we first posted the video, even that was my first concern, was like, oh no, did we handle this the wrong way? So.
Remind me to block this Jason N guy who's commenting.
Nobody in this chat seems to be having a good time.
Nobody likes this Jason guy, especially.
With you.
Because he's just attacking people. And thank God for YouTube's able to block people thing that they added a little button to. Because,
suicide lives do matter, dude. Come on.
There will always be trolls, but hey, you're going to keep going like this.
Life matters.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Hey, Lucci, we love you too.
We love you too.
But these guys have any questions or anything else you want us to clarify on? We could talk about it.
Yeah.
We can talk about it. We're only going to be here for a couple more minutes. I got to get to editing.
Yeah. Listen, just to address that, I guess while it's all ticking by, it's cool to there was I've seen a couple arguments about this today. It's cool to dislike movies and stuff like that, but movies and the people who make them are two separate things, and so if something happens in that person's life, it doesn't matter what you think of Justice League, because ultimately Justice League, it doesn't truly matter, and that's why Zack Snyder left to go be with his family.
Yeah, we said it in the first thing we filmed, in the first stream we did, that we have no issue with him leaving to do it. And not one comment was, we don't like Zack Snyder as a director, this is better that Joss Whedon's doing this and he's going to change the film. That didn't even come close to anything we said, and nor do I think one person really thought that's what we were saying, because that's not at all what we felt. When John found this article and then John told me about it, one of my first words were, man, I feel bad for any time we clowned on Zack Snyder.
Yeah, that was the thing, is I admit, I saw the headline, Zack Snyder, the first thing I saw was a tweet, was I feel really bad for Zack Snyder, and I was like, why? And I first checked this out, and if you told me, with no context, if I just heard, oh, Zack Snyder's stepping back, I would have been like, oh, here's more drama, and maybe like you said, we've bagged on Zack Snyder's movies here and there, but reading that article, I wasn't even thinking about Justice League. Like I said, Justice League doesn't actually matter. It's fake. It's not real. This guy lost his daughter. Which is not an experience every person gets.
No.
And
seriously, I mean, if I found that, if I were to hear, because I didn't know about Zack Snyder losing his daughter. This happened in March. And
I don't know.
I never heard about that.
Well, this only came out, as far as any article I could find when I found it, they were only an hour or two old. I think they were going to keep... I didn't think they wanted to put this information out, and it seemed like... The one of the quotes I read basically said, we were initially not going to talk about this, but we feel like we have to.
Well, because they have to explain, he has to explain why he's leaving, and I appreciate the honesty, because that's not an easy thing to make public.
Yeah.
It's not an easy thing to just let the world, because the world's going to hear about this. The world's going to hear about the loss of your daughter, and in this horrible way. And it's not an easy decision, but I understand though why he said it, because he has to make it clear.
Well, and honestly,
otherwise people are going to speculate a bunch of billion different other false reasons as to why he left.
Yeah, and ultimately, sadly, I do think that is something that we should take a look at. Just everybody should take a look at in how serious we take this kind of stuff and what big a deal we make out of it. Because Yeah, I almost feel like they shouldn't have to say anything, but if he said nothing, I'm sure there would just be a hailstorm of like, DC sucks, and Zack Snyder must be a terrible filmmaker.
Yeah,
and
Justice League might be terrible, that's why they fired him or something. Yeah, people would assume all the wrong reasons, so you have to reveal the truth of what actually happened.
Yeah, and I almost feel like that's the one way for them to get a little peace. And in a big, broad... it's like... It's in the air right now. It's like we had what happened with Chris Cornell last week, and now this. Like, there's in an odd way, saying it now might help the conversation at least. Because the thing is, like, Chris Cornell passing last week, like, that has opened up. I've seen so many arguments about the topic of suicide, and some people being like, coward, and, you know, people with hearts being like, but no, that's not how that works, you know. So what I just hope that this could maybe improve the conversation. But yeah, I mean, I really feel for Zack Snyder. I mean, I feel terrible for him, for his whole family, because that's like, he and his wife, like, they produce these movies, like, this is their business, and you know, to step back and take some family time is
absolutely
the thing to do.
Yeah, so that's why we took down the video, guys. Yep. That's why we took down the video, because despite the fact that not everyone felt that way about it, we understood that the percentage of people that did feel that way, we felt bad that was what was communicating, and we're not going to put the blame on anyone's reaction to how we came across in that video. We're not going to put the blame on them. We understand that because of how the overall tone of the video was coming across, that there was a percentage of people who were taking offense to it. So the last thing we want to do is go, you're being too sensitive. Like, we understood.
You know,
we felt bad. We felt like really bad. Like, shit, this isn't even accurately portraying the actual mood that it was creating for us.
Yeah, we were looking back and you know, we were like, could it be this? Could it be this? And then it finally kind of set in on the both of us, like, you know, maybe this was kind of a mess. Let's just do it again.
Yeah.
Let's just address this and be candid.
And we said at the beginning of the live stream, the reason we went live is so we can just not bullshit you guys. We don't want to like record it and be like, well, we really thought about our response to what to say.
Yeah.
It's just like, let's just be honest.
Let's not make it polished or packaged.
Yeah, let's just be honest about what the fuck we did and why we felt bad about it.
And, you know, if I can, you know, just to take a moment, I'm sure some people are going to think this is cheesy, but, you know, it always bears repeating. If you need help, always talk to somebody. Ask somebody. There are numbers you can call. There are people you can reach out to. And it's always better to reach than to not to.
Yeah.
Even when you don't feel like you can.
I mean, this happened with me several years ago. And nor was I planning on revealing this stuff. But John was around for a very specific moment in my life about 4 or 5 years ago. This is before the channel. This is pre-YouTube. Pre-YouTube, where I got admitted to the hospital a couple of times. One for actually, wow, this feels it's uncomfortable to say. Because I was having suicidal ideations, and there was one specific attempt that I took. And it was about 5-6 years ago when this happened. It was definitely before YouTube. It was like a little bit before YouTube, before we even started uploading videos. And I've had to go through a crazy journey on it. That was around the time when I was experiencing a lot of deaths in my family. There were a lot of deaths happening in my family. Dad and Grandma passed away 10 days apart, and it was an especially tough year for me. I have no idea as to why Zack Snyder's daughter did what she did, or Chris Cornell. It's like it's weird. It's flat out. It's just weird to receive news as to why someone committed suicide, as to the fact that what the action was that they committed suicide, but to not really have the context as to the possibility as to why they did it. And then people start speculating on it, which I'm sure, which from reading some live stream comments already of nasty jabs they're taking as to why she did it.
Don't even touch that.
Yeah. Because there are people I see comments already, I won't even repeat some of the things that people have been saying as to why she did it
to come from that discussion.
But yeah, like it's bad. And and someone just pointed out Happy John was there. Sorry, the comments are going so fast. John was really there. There was one time I remember leaving John a message, or I sent him an email.
I got that.
Yeah, I sent you an email. And
I remember.
And suddenly John was at my place, and that was a dark period for me.
I remember that day.
Yeah. So the only reason I'm revealing that, the only reason I'm taking, I take every once in a while, very rare, but every once in a while, I'll take the time to reveal something a little personal about my life experiences. And I don't think I've ever revealed that on the internet of what I was doing many years ago. And the only reason I'm revealing that is because I'm letting you know, like, I don't think lightly of this situation that actually happened.
Oh,
just so you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's the only reason why.
As a clinically depressed person,
yeah.
If this came across light at any point, that was certainly not the intention, because we already don't know enough about mental science.
Yeah.
Just as a broad range society. I mean, Greg and I both kind of jumped pretty deep into that, but it's.
See, this guy, I'm not going to read what he said. There's this guy, ancient internet troll, who just left a really mean comment about why it's not. I don't even know how some people have the nerve to do that. So, leave a comment. Even if it's a comment, it's just a comment from their YouTube account, like, to put it out there to provoke people, that's just crazy to me.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't know, at a certain point, what are you contributing here with a joke?
I mean, it's YouTube, it's the internet, so
can't
expect anything less from people online.
There are always people around keeping your sensitivity tempered.
Totally.
But enjoy, if you need to make a shallow joke, I hope it's good for you, because it's not great for the rest of the world.
Yeah,
it's not great for humanity.
Yeah.
And again, Justice League is not important in this context. It doesn't matter. It's a fantasy. Who cares what anybody would have thought about it? There's one less person in the world. Who had a whole life ahead of them.
Yeah.
So who gives a shit about Justice League?
All right, guys. Well, we're gonna call it a day right now. I'm gonna get to editing. We're doing. I'm not gonna plug anything that we're doing.
No.
These are all habits that I think have led to a lot of this crap that we did on our end that was not taken well, because like putting like exclamation marks at the end of a title. It communicates totally differently than if you don't have exclamation marks at the end of the title. It's a habit for me to just put that there in a title. Or doing an outro where you plug a couple things. Like, I was about to do that out of habit, But I guess on my end, I need to be more mindful. And I need to be...
We could all be more mindful.
Yeah, we could all be... You can never stop improving your mindfulness. You can never stop improving that. And I should have, at that moment, we probably both should have been more mindful as to how the overall tone of the video is coming across. But prayers for Zack Snyder and his whole entire family. I know he has more than that one daughter. He has other children as well. He has got a wife to tend to. And so prayers really go out to him. Hopefully there's more of like what Eggs Benedict Cumberbatch is saying, is like the prayers and the love for Snyder's family than a bunch of mean troll comments.
Well, and people reaching out to each other, would be a nice thing.
Yeah. And just so you know, no one pressured us into explaining ourselves. This
just felt like the way to do it.
This just felt like the way to do it because we saw the response of a certain percentage of people, and we were like, I feel bad. It might not be the majority of how people are responding, but just that percentage there enough was to make us go, we're human beings too. We're human beings, and we're not like insensitive to people's sensitivity either. So
we're human beings, and even though this news doesn't really affect our lives directly, it does it's important that you handle it the right way.
Absolutely.
You do right by it.
Yeah.
And you handle with care.
And yeah, all right, we'll let you guys go. We'll talk to you guys soon. Have more videos coming up, continuing the channel. Love you guys. To everyone who joined in on here, much love.